2021. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining That's Our Take. My name is Adam.
And I'm Chris.
And this is That's Our Take.
Welcome to Season 3.
Season 3-ish, yeah. 2019, 2020, and 2021. Every year we do a couple episodes and then take the summer and fall and winter off.
So, hope you enjoy the next 6 weeks. And we'll see you next year.
Yeah, pretty much.
You're welcome.
Yeah. This, I do not have a specific theme for this episode necessarily. There's just, too much to throw into the hat of good and bad things that have happened over the last 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the scales tip a little bit heavier in one way than the other, but...
Depends on your perception, I suppose.
I guess, yeah. How... Explain that.
I think just being a election year, they really amp up propaganda and really make you angry, confused, and that kind of gets us all on edge.
That's absolutely true. Everything has been about how can we paint a picture to show you how everyone else is bad, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm on both sides, 100% on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I don't think one of them is, well, I personally, I guess, think one of them is less good than the other, but I don't think they're both shining armor, like neither are the answer or the solution. Unfortunately, one of them's touting about a final solution, and we've heard that once before. So we don't need to be, talking about them assholes.
Yeah. They only win if we talk about them. Fuck those guys.
Yeah, fuck those guys.
Both sides.
Both.
Speaking of, it is Memorial Day, so I'd like to thank all of the people who are not with us anymore due to their service.
Yeah, Memorial Day, of course. It sucks, man, because hundreds and hundreds of years, there's just been war. War, and just countless of numbers of people slaughtered on both sides, and every country is certain that they're the good guys, that's just how they tote their narratives and all that stuff. And I think that's why World War II is such a heavy hitting thing, because it's clear who the bad guys were. Okay.
Yeah.
It's clear who the bad guys were.
I mean, I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying, perceptions, I'm sure someone would have something to say. They'd be like, well...
You're right. And he was president for 4 years, and now he's gone, so...
Scheiße.
Good guys on both sides there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of them was literally Hitler.
Oh, shit.
Speaking of Trump, Adolf, that's what I'm saying, man, the propaganda.
Yeah.
You're like, you're a racist if you do this. This is that. The other side is this. God. So what did you do the last year? I think the last few episodes we did were No News is Good News, where we were stuck in quarantine.
Yeah.
We were looking for something to do. There was a lot of misinformation out there. We were just trying to understand what's going on. So then what happened between June 1st, 2020 and today? Little Adam year in review.
Well, personally, in the middle of June, I got my keys to my leased building, for my insurance agency that I just started, and kind of did that. You and I, we renovated the office, carpet, walls, paint, ceiling, every fucking thing. So now I have a legit looking insurance agency.
Yeah, you do. It turned out nice. It was a big turnaround from what it was. It used to be an old vape store.
Yeah.
Next to a Domino's and like a pack and ship.
Yeah, pack and ship, mail and ship. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's one of those places.
Yeah. But that was fun renovating.
Yeah, it gave us something to do. It gave us something physical to do.
Yeah.
You know, I sweated a lot.
Yeah, you did.
Last year.
There's pictures.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd go through like 2 or 3 hats or headbands a day. Ugh.
That was pretty intense.
Yeah, it was. It was. But it was nice to see the end result.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those great things about physical labor. You know, it sucks while you're doing it, but at the end you see the end result. You're like, oh shit, cool. I'm glad I did that.
Hell yeah.
It's a big deal.
So you started an insurance agency. I think it started with one company. It wasn't a great company. So you decided, let's try a different company where you can quote several places at once.
Yes,
a little more competitive.
So now I am a Goosehead Insurance Agency.
Honk.
Here in Racine, Goosehead Insurance. Join the gaggle.
Waddle on over for a quote. If you don't like your renewal bill, come on over. Yeah.
So that's what I do. I wasn't gonna use this platform to be all like, this is what I'm doing, but yeah, fuck it. That's what I'm doing. I'm an insurance agency. I'm a normal guy doing it for 8 years, just like most insurance agents. Didn't graduate college, rather. Went to high school, didn't graduate college. And now I'm trying to sell stuff to other people who did graduate college.
That's your target market.
That's my target market, man.
No, that's good, man. Everyone needs insurance, and I think your pitch is shopping different companies. You can help them save money. If not, then stay with your current company. Otherwise, let me shop for you, sort of thing. You even helped me. I was able to get more coverage, a lower deductible, and pay less money.
Yeah, that's true.
I appreciate you shopping for me.
That's true.
Here I was sitting around like an asshole thinking my current agent had my back, but they did not. So I said, bye, Felicia.
You know, when you told me that it was the same agent your family's been using for a long time, part of me was just like, I could probably beat that.
Mm-hmm.
Because those people, you know, they get complacent. They'll reshop you, but not every time.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a threshold. If it goes up more than 13 or 15%, if it goes up, then they'll reshop you.
Mm-hmm.
But if it goes up less than that, just like, shit happens.
Yeah.
Which is just the truth. Shit happens.
And that's what I thought. I was like, oh, I guess rates are going up this year. I'll just pay it.
Right.
All willy-nilly like.
Nobody fucking drove last year, man. Rates went down.
Mm-hmm.
Every company.
I got a $30 return.
Ooh,
They're
yikes.
like, here you go. I'm like, I wasn't driving at all.
Yeah. Yeah, you were home for like 4 months.
Literally was, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was just driving between here and the 10 minutes to my office. That was most driving you did, probably.
Yeah.
And then your mom's place. You had a busy 2020.
It was pretty busy. I was helping you renovate during June, early July. We did some protesting, so
yeah,
that, you know, I had to balance fighting the man and painting the walls. Both equally nice. And then my mom started working on starting her own salon at the former Fantastic Sam's, where she worked for 5 years. The owners decided not to renew the lease. So she saw an opportunity. That was after helping her fix up her house for the last 8 years. And she was able to sell it for a profit. And she used that money to open a new salon. So I've been helping on the business side, everything from marketing, websites, print shop work, all that fun stuff. So that was kind of the majority of July, August, September was more the back end stuff. And then September, October, when we got the keys is when I went there for renovation, started doing painting and sprucing the place up a bit. And then kind of a bigger push, getting her set up with credit card processing, payment systems, her CRM software, all the fun stuff that goes into starting a business. But even though I was able to help a lot, she put in a lot of work too. I got to give her credit. And it hasn't taken her that long to get up to speed with the new technology and new systems and her taking over a lot of the responsibility. So really proud of her for that. It's growing fast. She's looking for more stylists. She has a few in the works. So her first month was probably 5,000 in revenue.
Wow.
And now she's approaching 11, 12,000 a month, and it's only going to go up.
Wow.
Yeah. So Had a busy 2020, opening some friends' businesses, family businesses. I started a new business, literally what I just described. I call it was my little reaction to the cancellations with COVID. Doing the wedding DJ business. It was looking great for 2020.
Yeah, it was.
It was about 60 events booked already by March. And once COVID hit, it went from 60 down to 20. So I had a lot more free time, and I thought 20 gigs aren't going to cut it. I'm going to need some more money. So I was like, I can use my mom and Adam and other businesses as proof of concept for starting Focus Biz, where I do websites and marketing. So it was a nice transition. Give me something to do during the week and winter months, and then kind of go from there. But thankfully, we are getting a little bit back to normal. We're back up to 62-ish events for this year, kind of in the middle of it. Added photo booth services, and things are great. I'm enjoying it.
Good. Now, did you do all 20 gigs last year? Is that how many you ended up doing?
I may not have done 20 all myself. There may have been 1 or 2 double bookings. I did try to keep whichever couple was booked with a certain DJ. I tried to keep them together, saying, hey, you're already comfortable with each other. I'm not going to take it from you, sort of thing. Of course, I can make more money on my own without paying someone, but just trying to be nice. I offered free cancellations, free rescheduling. It was a crazy time. Yeah. Said, don't worry about it. But now I have to go back and reinstate the cancellation policy because a lot of people want to book and reserve our DJs, and they'll cancel 4 weeks out, 8 weeks out. Right. And we've grown to the point where we turn down so many leads for a specific date that we can't be doing that. That's our income. Yeah. You know? So we need people to either balance the safety and the risk of whatever COVID is or was, and just understand that if it's so serious to you, why are you planning a wedding? Why are you... It's not going to magically go away. You either got to live with it or you don't.
Yeah. I mean, all those, but say like a wedding is such a big deal, and with how everything, the 2-week shutdown to flatten the curve, that started 14 months ago. You know, nobody knew what to do. I mean, those venues, those down payments and stuff like that, like if they're offering a refund or something, then they got to try and just get everything back. And, you know, it put a hardship, I'm sure, on every single person. But granted, there are some people that are just bitches about it.
That's true.
Rescheduling and canceling, stuff like that.
Yeah, it was mostly the limitations from city or local ordinances and orders. A lot of venues in Milwaukee could not operate, or they were so restrictive that people said it's not worth it. A lot of venues out in more red counties that didn't have those restrictions, it was business as usual for them. Yep. So a lot of the gigs for us were just normal. It was us. Some of them had mask requirements, some didn't. Some followed them, some enforced, some didn't. Right. I enjoyed the summer going out to weddings, didn't get sick. It wasn't until late October that I possibly came down with the COVID. My symptoms weren't that bad. They lasted a couple days. I self-quarantined just to be safe and had one of my DJs take over a gig just to play it safe again. I didn't get tested. I don't need a test to say if I'm sick or not. I just did the right thing and self-quarantined and lived my life after that. Yeah. Didn't you get the Rona too?
Yeah, I got the Rona. Yeah. Early April of this year. Went a whole year without getting it. And then my daughter came back from her grandma and just fucking infected the whole house. But thankfully, she and the baby... Oh yeah, I have a baby now, baby boy.
Hey, congrats.
Since the last episode. That's a thing now. I don't even remember if Tabitha was pregnant when we were doing the Tiger King thing, because those were the last episodes we published with you and I and Lauren and Tabitha. Yep. So that was a while ago. It was probably around this time, maybe. So maybe she was pregnant.
I think it was a little bit earlier. It was like, it was April time.
Yeah.
Because March was shut down. April was That's Our Tiger.
Yeah. For the Tiger King, yeah.
and to think that Joe Exotic would not be the craziest thing to happen in all of 2020. I was like, we can't peak anymore. Nope.
And that was early in the year.
You're like, yeah. It was like, why don't we throw some police brutality in there and let's start creating the largest marches we've had in 50 years. And
no shit.
That was crazy.
It might even have been bigger, man, because I don't know. I wasn't around back then, obviously, for like the Women's March and the Million Man March and stuff like that. Like that might have been just the biggest one. But yeah, I mean, I feel like with George Floyd and that what happened there, I just feel like everybody was so tightly wound.
Yeah.
You know, and then seeing that just the blatant disregard for human life on an almost 9-minute long video, you know, it's just like, yeah, it just set everyone off, myself included, my wife, everybody with a fucking conscience, you know, even if you're Jiminy Cricket sitting there on meth or something, like you're still looking at it being like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, it was a crazy time. It was the mix of quarantine and then that incident, social media blew up, and then nice weather came. And I think June 6th was nationwide the largest group of protests, and around the world. It was specifically that day.
Yeah, June 6th, you're right.
And that was when I went out. It was if I remember, it was a Tuesday. Yeah, Jim, he was a tall man. And yeah, it was huge. It was just 5 city blocks deep on an entire road down Bayview and through Kinnickinnick.
Right. Yeah, June 6th, that was a Saturday. That was the first Saturday in June. And that was when the protests, the big one was. And there were several that went on. I mean, shit, they're still going on. It hasn't stopped. Yeah. Not here in Milwaukee, at least. They've been doing stuff, being active. It's been really crazy.
I mean, think about the things that happened in Portland with, what was that, Chaz or something?
Yeah, I don't remember what that was about.
Oh my God. Yeah, the police, I think, abandoned their precinct in their city, and then people took over and started making like an arts and music festival out of it. They're like free movies every night, come on down. That was interesting to watch all of that unfold. And just the left and right wing propaganda and justification on either side. Like, it's either okay to riot and destroy buildings in certain instances, or it's not, or George Floyd's death is only attributed to the fentanyl in his system, and that somehow justifies a cop to detain you with their knee on your neck for over 9 minutes. Yeah. I just can't believe it.
Yeah.
Somehow in their mind, they think that's okay.
There's no justification. And if there was, then everybody that would have testified on that things, every police officer would have said, oh yeah, that's just what we do normally. Yeah. But not one fucking person other than, you know, Fox News fucking lawyers were out there saying anything different than this was wrong. This was such fucking bullshit.
You either believe in the Constitution or you don't. Do you believe in your right to due process and a fair trial?
Right.
Or could someone in a badge and uniform just kill you because you've either had a past history, which that shouldn't define who you are? Isn't that the purpose of serving your time? Or that's how it is. Like, that doesn't give them the right to murder you.
No.
And I think you brought up something a few weeks ago about having a cop see a gun is not the right for them to kill and shoot you.
Right. Even though that's exactly what happens every single time.
They say, I was threatened for my life.
Yeah, so, I saw a gun.
And it's so many more instances where the cops perceived a threat and they unloaded their clip into someone. Do we have the right to keep and bear arms?
No.
Or do we? No. Obviously not. Not anymore. We're supposed to.
Sure.
But the way that it's treated is anyone who could be a suspect, even if you don't match the description, if I feel threatened in any way,
yeah,
that's bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't imagine just like having that mentality, just walking around. Anytime somebody looked at me weird, just pull out a fucking gun, tell them to get down on the ground, and if they don't, kill them.
Yeah.
Just because.
Yeah.
Broken taillight, anything, any fucking reason.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even those cops that fucking, they maced that military dude. He was like a lieutenant or something like that in the military, and they pulled him over. And they're screaming at him to get out of the car. Their gun's drawn. And he doesn't want to. He's like, I'm fucking scared you guys are going to kill me. Like, fuck you.
Like, I got my rights.
Yeah.
You can't
he's got his rights.
You can't just demand that I do something and I don't have to follow your orders blindly.
God damn it, you're right. You don't have to follow the orders blindly to any person, let alone a police officer. They assume that authority. Mm-hmm. And it just does nothing good.
And no one's been holding them accountable.
No.
And that's because they can get away with it so many different times. Mm-hmm. This isn't the first instance. This isn't, yeah. Oh God, no. I mean, all the way back, 2014, 2012, I mean, there's multiple instances.
1962, 1964.
Yes, 1776 even. I mean, how is it that the supposed party of Don't Tread on Me turned into Back the Blue?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm not saying cops are bad. I respect the profession and the work that they do, but there also has to be accountability across the board.
Right.
With any profession, any job, anything.
Every profession. Yeah.
They say, oh, cops are under so much stress. Like, I don't know, did that 19-year-old who works at Target like strangle you and then beat the shit out of you? Just because they're under so much stress? Like, that doesn't give you the right to act any way you want.
Right. Yeah, it's stress. Talk about stress. Work fucking retail during Black Friday.
No kidding.
That's stress. I mean, granted, no one's trying to shoot you, but it's America, so somebody might.
Yeah.
You know, so just shut the fuck up with that. It's so stressful bullshit. Get therapy. Your union pays for it, that we pay for. Go ahead, bro. Just go. Talk to someone. It's okay. No one's going to judge you. And if they do, then fuck them.
Did you know pizza delivery drivers have a higher chance of getting, killed?
Being killed during
the line of duty. So don't tell me how there's so much risk and whatever.
Right.
Look at the facts, bro.
Look at the no. That's not the American thing to do.
Whoa. We can't be objective here. I got to speak from my feelings. I got to repeat what the newsman told me to say.
Right. What channel are you listening to? 33 or 34?
Yeah.
One of them is telling you to say what you're supposed to believe.
And I'm going to repeat it verbatim.
Yeah. Yeah. No shit. Yeah, man. This last year has really, with the amount of stress that everyday Americans were under, it made it, I feel, so much easier to break that very thin shell that we keep of, logic.
Mm-hmm. Or just our normal way of living. Mm-hmm. It was this whole, you have to commute to the office, and that was normal, working 40 hours to pay your bills. And suddenly all of that was just flipped over, and
you start to see through it.
The
curtain behind Oz kind of fell a little bit, and you're like, oh wait, no, it just doesn't have to be like that.
Yes, 100%. I totally agree.
There are some people, I'm sure, that can't wait to go back to the office, I've been doing everything through Zoom meetings and shit like that. But I bet half of those people don't want to go back to the office. No. Pajama pants every day, have a glass of wine with lunch, It's just live your life and do your work. Like you're a grown up, you don't need to follow these bullshit rules anymore. And I don't understand why that's necessary. I just it worked then, but now it doesn't work.
Right.
When manual labor was the only way to get things done back then, that made sense. You need these rigorous first, second, third shift, blah, blah, blahs. But now with technology and automation and stuff like that, who apparently, don't you remember that all these people you start bitching for $15 an hour jobs, they're going to replace you with robots? Well, why are all these? Where are they?
Where's the robots? Where's the machines that were taking them over?
Yeah.
They're not there.
They're not.
There's a worker shortage right now.
There's a worker shortage.
Because people are seeing that, okay, I can make more money or the same on unemployment, depending on where you're at, why would I go work?
Right. And, that's
kind of pros and cons.
There's pros and cons to that logic. There
Yeah.
is. It's kind of just like, well, come on, man. Just like get off your ass and do something. But at the same time, fine, I'll go do something, but like you should be fairly compensated for your limited fucking time on this planet. That's all it is leasing your life to these people. Like in the most basic standard, basic concept of working for somebody. I'm leasing you the finite number minutes and hours of my life and you're going to compensate me for it. What are you going to compensate me with? Monopoly money so I can go and buy this plastic shit. And that's what being an American citizen is,
Yeah.
And we tout freedom and freedom and freedom, but we're just pogs in this bullshit board game of Monopoly that we're not even playing. And it's so obvious now. I mean, yes, it's been obvious for a lot of people for a long time.
Right.
But now it's obvious to everybody. And they're trying so fucking hard to keep their reins on that power.
Yeah.
Whether you believe in the deep state government or just the fucking government themselves, which over the last year, you learned that the government is not the government for or by the people.
No.
It is for the corporations that own the people.
Yes, 100%. I just saw a tweet that said something about the government just handed Jeff Bezos $10 billion because of a failed space program that he was trying.
Yeah.
And in unrelated news, Jeff Bezos also just bought MGM for $8.5 billion. So now we have a big consolidation of wealth of people who hold the money and the power and control now. Now it's terrible that there's only 5 big corporations that own 90% of the media that we consume. There's danger behind that. And we saw that also with posting anything about COVID, anything about vaccines. It's just crazy. They are scraping your posts for the words.
Yeah.
And that way, if it mentions anything, vaccine, Rona, anything, they'll say, for more information on COVID-19, visit cdc.gov.
Yeah, right.
Because you can't say anything that isn't already pre-approved. And even if you do say things that are pre-approved, they're going to ban you on it. There was your video that you shared. You were just trying to be objective, share some information. YouTube banned you on it.
Yeah, YouTube took it down and threatened me with a suspension. If I kept doing that, I'm just like, doing what?
Yeah. And then there was our attempt to discuss the Wuhan lab. There was anyone who mentioned the Wuhan lab as could that be a possible source of this outbreak, you were shut down immediately and blacklisted. Yep. Now suddenly mainstream news just last week is carrying reports saying we're doing more investigations in the Wuhan lab as to being a possible source. Like, okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So you can only say it when it's pre-approved by them. And even when you share regular news sources, they're going to try to fact check you. Sure, sometimes it's helpful. It helps to limit misinformation, but who controls that message? Who's to say that that's absolutely right?
Right. Why isn't the pressure more on the news to be fact checked to be rather than the people using social media platforms?
100%.
That doesn't make any goddamn sense to me.
It doesn't.
There's no rules. Well, I mean, supposedly there are rules for these news media outlets to follow, but when there's 6 corporations that own every fucking thing that you hear and see on television or the internet most of the time now, it's just like, okay, well, yeah, who's going to enforce those rules? Because those 6 corporations own the government as well. Because they borrow them money, they loan them money, it's all intermingling contracts, hand jobs under the table and all that shit.
Yep.
It's like...
It's terrible.
It is terrible. It is terrible. And it's terrible because... like, you see how easily it was to get to where it is now. And you see now that any attempt to change it is like that a lone guy standing at Tiananmen Square against the tanks, just, there's nothing you can do. And that one little picture is zoomed in on him in one tank. The real picture is there's like a line of tanks behind that one. And he's just standing there. And that's any American citizen with a true, real grievance versus the American government. But they clog it up with all of this gunk and nonsense about, race baiting and then they fucking crazy ass like Klan people and all that shit, and they're so hung up on being right and hating the other people, and it's just it's so correct on the say the left side as well, the radical left, you know, like that term. When you say that term, it's like oh radical left. You just say you're just a Republican. Like no, there are some really radical left people out there, and they're fucking idiots. Sure, they absolutely are. And there's probably an equal amount of them, of the left and the right.
There's hypocrisy on both sides.
So much hypocrisy. I mean, look at the current fucking president.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, sure. Did I vote for him? Maybe. But he's shit in the bed, man.
Like the guy who's been in politics for 40 or 50 years, the guy who has literally passed the legislation that allowed cops to be more aggressive.
Right.
Like, that's gonna be our savior for this police brutality.
Yeah.
It is just... It's comical. It's comical. We're like, oh my God, if you don't vote for Biden, it's a vote for Trump. If you don't vote for Trump, it's a vote for Biden. And I'm like, I think I voted for 3 people now. That's voter fraud. That's not possible.
Yeah, voter fraud. Well, the election was apparently rampant with voter fraud. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? And it's that type of shit. Like maybe people would have given that guy a little bit of credit if he wouldn't have been screaming about, it'll be fair if I win in 2017 or something like that. Setting the precedent for this bullshit. I mean, hey, as a younger person, I like to consider myself a pretty good manipulator. I'm not proud of it, but I fucking was. And still am. But that's how you do it. You plant the seeds of something and then you come back to it and, oh, I heard that before. You're right. Oh my God. It's so easy, man. That's how you lie to somebody. You plant a seed and then you start talking truth. But then you go back to that seed you planted and you realize, oh, you've been watering it with truth. So it's growing now.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. And he did that. No doubt he did that. And with all this shit going on between like the racial tension and stuff like that, like those fuckers down in North Carolina with the tiki torches. It's like, first of all, the people that you're trying to live their legacy of, the original Klan members, would probably look at you laughing right now. Be like, where's your horse, son? Put your hood on. You can't let all these people see your face. They're not going to come down to the hardware store to see your face out there with a torch. Okay.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. God damn it. It's just like you're not doing what you think you're doing. And then also what you think you're doing is just so beyond sensible. It's just like, shut up. Shut up. And then you got people screaming Antifa about everything. And, you know, maybe there are a group that call themselves Antifa who are out there spreading violence on behalf of anti-right propaganda, right? Which is wrong. That's wrong. You shouldn't be doing that. You shouldn't be walking out hitting people with bike chains or baseball bats or beating the shit out of people unless they're carrying a tiki torch walking down the street saying, you know, white power, blah, 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 blah.
Question is, do they have a right to their own opinion and the right to protest that? Not that I support them. Right. It's like,
do they have the right to do that? In America? Yes. In America, they do. It's not right. No, they should be. And that's there's a slippery slope. You can't say they shouldn't be allowed to scream their shit, but everybody else can. And that's kind of what's happening right now. If you know, on both sides.
Yeah.
The right is so like, hey, let's cancel culture. And the left's like, well, it's not cancel culture. It's just holding you accountable for the bullshit you've been spreading. And some of it's true, yes, but some of it is just like, y'all are just really attacking people just to be attacking people on the internet.
Yeah. The group that hates cancel culture didn't watch NFL this entire season because it said end racism. Because it said end racism at the goal line. Like,
end racism. That's the statement.
That's
what fuck you, end racism. That's not what I'm about.
No, it's the BLM group and it's the,
yeah, right.
And of course, hey, the leader who just bought like $5 million mansions, that's bogus. That's bullshit.
What's that about?
I don't support that, but I supported the mission and the meaning of what BLM was about and what I understood it to be. I'm like, okay, are they disproportionately affected? Absolutely. Have there been laws specifically made to restrict and oppress African Americans and minorities? Absolutely. Yeah. Now it's just a little more cleverly hidden. And now the cops use those laws to target specific groups. Now, whether they target a group or not, they shouldn't be targeting them. No. You either have the right to travel, you have the right to keep and bear arms. if it applies to one group, it has to apply to all. You know, you can't.
Yeah, right.
You know, it's just.
Right.
I don't like police beating down on people.
Anybody.
Like,
on the street, their wives, nobody.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be beating nobody.
Which, fun fact, 40% of all police officers are domestic abusers.
Right. Now let's hear them go out and say, well, they're under so much stress. If their wives wouldn't have overcooked the roast, maybe she wouldn't have a black eye, okay? Every story has two sides.
Whoa, there's a black guy? Where? Oh, yeah. Had to throw that in there.
That was good.
Gun!
Yeah, no shit.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, some of these people's videos and shit, some cop just yells gun and then pulls out his pistol and starts blasting. Mm-hmm. Like, gun, Second Amendment. No? Okay, my bad, I'll just die.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you, man.
What is that? Oh, he was reaching for something. You asked for my driver's license. Like,
yep.
What is that?
Yep, he
that
was
bullshit?
reaching for something. Okay, take a step back and consider the amount of weapons you have on you. Let him reach for something. He pulls out a gun and points it at you. Fucking fire, Mr. Trained Professional, right? Or tase him, or spray him.
Yeah.
Or we're having it at a billy club. They don't have billy clubs no more.
No, they have them.
Oh, do
they choose not to use them.
Yeah, they
have handcuffs, pepper spray, a taser, radio for backup. They usually have 2 people driving in a squad. They usually call for backup before they go to the car.
Right.
They place their hand on the tail light to ensure if something ever happens, hey, I was here sort of thing, place a fingerprint there. They run your information, the registration, who is licensed to drive that vehicle. I mean,
right.
I can't justify
how
their use of force for whatever. This whole, you don't have a right to protest, or like, yeah, you can protest, just not in any meaningful way. Like, you can't stop us on the freeway. I'm trying to get to work.
Yeah.
Like, oh wow. Right. Oh, okay.
Like, no, this is the point of the protest, bro. To interrupt society at the moment, like, because it ain't working.
Right now, the country's shut down. Like, where are you going that you're going to work? And this is such an inconvenience. I'm so sorry about that. It's just crazy.
No, you're absolutely right. It just, none of it makes sense, man. How people are so gung-ho to defend this shit. I don't get it. I really don't. I see all these, people back the blue kind of shit, and they're all the same person. You understand this? Yeah, they're all the same person. Guy, generally under 6 foot, little pudgy, balding, couple tattoos, some sunglasses with the hat, the selfie in his truck, the oversized truck to compensate, and the big fucking. There's either a sticker or just jackass yesterday in the area here. He's got this big faded looking American flag. Like it was dragged on the ground for 20 years, which by the way is breaking the law, to have a American flag that is deteriorated showing.
Literally the back the blue flag is
against the law.
A violation to that code. So don't tell me about you got to respect our flag sort of.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah, those are the fuckers out there saying respect the flag and all pissed off at Kaepernick for taking the knee.
Yeah.
Or something like that. Like they're the same people, but they're just, it's so hypocritical. And they're so sure that they're right. They're so sure that they're justified in their
delusion.
Delusion. Thank you. That's the best word for it. And like you said, yes, police officers do a job that I could not, nor do I want to do. No doubt. I don't want to be the first responder to shots fired or something like that. I don't want to be that. I get it. Like normal people get that. Normal people fucking understand. We want to call 911. I would not mind seeing a cop with a badge and a gun at a park. Because, hey, if somebody's about to do something stupid, hey, there's one of the good guys here, right? And that's what we were, when we're children, white children, growing up, that's what we're taught to believe. You know what I mean? But then you learn that, when you're 18, you have a black friend and you realize that they always twitch a little bit when there's a cop because their parents told them when there's a cop, you fucking stand up straight. You don't speak unless spoken to, like Mucker. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like the shit that he talks about. And it's just like,
he was taught a completely different way on how to interact with police because they are seen differently. They are treated differently. And I think it's a great example of, there is a difference between if you're white or if you're black and any minority.
Yeah, there is. And to deny it isn't helping you or helping anybody, like you denying that it's true is not hurting the people who are saying it is true. All it is making you look complicit in the fact that this shit's happening. And that's kind of what it is. Like 40% of America is all just like, yeah, fucking back the blue. Just shoot everybody. Gun, boom, 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 boom.
Right.
Anyways, they started blasting.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, that's not okay, man. You're not supposed to be doing that though.
No, absolutely not.
So, yeah, that's been the last year, basically.
It's been the last year.
This nonstop, this bullshit, the media spinning everything, taking people off the internet, canceling their access to the platform and stuff like that.
I don't like the censorship in many instances because you have a right to say something or not, and again, who controls that information? Who says it's
sure.
good or not?
Sure.
And the way that the media spins everything, that is blatantly false. It's a mistruth, and they are misrepresenting facts. So how can they be the trusted guide, and you have to link to them? Does anybody read a paper anymore? Like, geez, can we look past the headline? Like, literally.
Right.
Like, so many headlines are just blatantly false or misleading that you have to look into it, you know? There's always something more to it.
Yeah. On Reddit now they have a bot. Have you noticed that?
No.
Reddit has a bot where it'll scam through the article and it will post paragraphs from the article.
Oh, I did
see that. So that
that.
you can't, it's almost like it does it for you. Like,
Yes.
hey, you're too fucking lazy and stupid to go and read the article. So here, we're going to post the article, bits of it here that are basically like the meat of the article. This is what it is. And then most of the time you read that, you're like, that has nothing to do with this fucking, what title it's called.
100%. And I was going to say something about the news story. Oh, totally forgot. It'll come back to me. It was really important. Obviously so.
Yeah, absolutely. And now the shit that's going on, and this I entirely do blame the former president for this. All of this like Asian hate that's going on.
China.
I don't know why these fucking old ass Asian people are just being beaten at bus stops and pulled out of things and just like, what the fuck is going on? Why is that okay? It's not. It wasn't okay 80 years ago when we were doing it to the Japanese and the Italians and Germans. It wasn't okay then.
Yeah, we had an internment camp right over at Mitchell
Airport. Yeah, for Japanese people. Absolutely. And it's fucked up. That happened. Like, what do you mean internment camp? What's that? It means they took you out of your home and put you there in case you were a spy.
Yeah, it was, either the thought police or just in case you're going to do something bad. It's a preemptive.
Right. And they still use those tactics today. We're walking down, slashing people's tires, breaking their windows. Well, they may have used those cars to drive to a protest against our brutality.
That is such bullshit. They're destroying property and they're not held accountable for it.
Nope. Still not. Nope.
They are not.
Nope. And insurance are probably, it's weird with civil unrest because that term civil unrest, you get to just apply it to anything and then it changes the rules to it because the rules, like we're land of the free, home of the brave. That is a really cool slogan, bro. But that's all it is.
At the end of the pledge, it says liberty and justice for all.
For all.
Everybody.
Yeah.
This isn't just all. Like.
Even if you want to keep the under God part, fine.
Which was only added in like the 1940s or some shit. So it wasn't even in the original.
Sure.
They actually, that was a part of the founding was that we are getting away from this, lack of religious expression or ability to, practice our own religion. This isn't, it wasn't founded under Judeo-Christian values. Anytime someone says that, I say, define Judeo. Tell me what that is.
Yeah.
Cause you're just repeating what you heard on the news.
Yeah. I couldn't define Judeo-Christian.
No.
Other than like, those are the people that are just like absolutely sure abortion's bad and they hate the gays, right? And that's it.
No, it's not that we hate gay people. It's I just don't like you shoving it down my throat. Well, that's what hating gay people is. There's always this little caveat to it, like,
Yeah,
oh,
right.
oh, someone else, like the whole. There's a black Republican that agrees with me, so I'm not racist.
Yeah. There's there's black Republican that agrees with you.
Didn't you see what Candace Owens tweeted? I'm obviously justified in whatever I say.
Yeah, Candace Owens. And then nobody wants to talk about the last 10 years of her life where she's done nothing but scream against the right and their racist rhetoric and how terrible they are to people of color and minorities. Mm-hmm. And it's just the fucking truth, man. Mm-hmm. It just is.
I mean, you had your Jim Crow law, you had your 3/5 law, you had...
Yeah.
I mean...
Those were laws.
Civil rights was just... the Civil Rights Act was just 1964-ish or so.
Yeah.
Like, people were still pushing because there was the segregation. Like,
Yep.
you have to come to the back, or this is a blacks-only water fountain, whites only. Like,
Right.
that wasn't that long ago.
Right.
Those people are still around, and those values were instilled in the children, those beliefs.
Yeah, and those children are running the fucking country right now. Mm-hmm. And that's the biggest problem. Mm-hmm. And I hate to say this, like, it's not cool to say this, but when I heard that the COVID was called the boomer remover, I thought that was the funniest thing I've ever heard. Mm-hmm. And kind of was like, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then they all want to sacrifice their grandmas and shit like that. Like, you can go first. Mm-hmm. You go first. Make way for other people who, but you know, the government's not real. It's all just handed down to your fucking nephews and nieces and stuff like that. You know, they like to pretend, but it's not. There's no way to fix it, man. There's no way to fix it without tearing it all down first. And that's not going to happen.
Mm-hmm. There's too much evil, too many bad people on both sides in all professions. Doesn't matter. There's shitty people out there. And when you don't hold them accountable because you think the profession is, it's immune to it, I mean, it's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, anything you see currently, you know, is just like, just the January 6th bullshit. Mm-hmm. Bunch of armed people attacked the thing, killing a couple
I don't think
police
they were
officers.
Armed.
There were several people there with weapons on them. I mean, unless it was
the fire extinguisher or...
No, just people there with guns strapped across their backs and chests and shit like that.
I never saw that.
You never saw a picture with a person with a gun strapped to their chest at the Capitol?
At the January 6th one, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, there's been several. I didn't see anybody on the inside with a weapon.
Okay.
But a lot of people on the outside.
Again, do you have the right to keep and bear arms? Or, I mean...
Well, sure, but you can, like, I don't think anybody's going to arrest you if you're walking down the street smothering your own shit on yourself. But if you walk into a Kohl's and you keep doing that, there's going to be a problem. And that's the whole thing. Do you have the right to blah, 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 blah? Like, no, you fucking don't, first of all. If your right infringes on anybody else's life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness, then it's not a right you get to keep. That's just the truth. Mm-hmm. Because that is what the government is founded on. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's it. Mm-hmm. There's nothing else. You can't impose your bullshit beliefs on me, whether or not you believe that having a fucking rocket launcher on your back in a subway line is necessary. You don't have the right to tell me that that's okay. You don't. At the same time,
First Amendment,
they
have the right to tell you that.
the right to tell you that it's not okay.
Sure. But I don't see how someone minding their own business, how does that affect your life, liberty, or pursuit of happiness? Is it because you feel scared? I mean, do your feelings outweigh their, you know, it's like...
no, it doesn't.
It's kind of that balancing act that we're pointing fingers at certain scenarios and instances that...
So what we need to focus on is starting from the beginning when they're little babies saying, you don't need to walk around with a rocket launcher in Subway, okay? Mm-hmm. And that's what these motherfucking people need to be talked to like.
I feel like you're taking some big... Yeah, I feel like you're exaggerating.
That's what
with the rocket launcher.
Sure.
You're kind of going big there.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any rocket launchers here in America.
Okay. They exist, and there have been.
I'm going to have to look that up.
Feel free. Yeah, no problem. Yeah. It's a real thing. I've seen several photos and stuff like that. A lot of them are bullshit, memes, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But it's still a photo of a thing. And it just doesn't make sense to me. Carry a sword. What happened to that?
Parlay.
Yeah, like, what happened to carrying a sword? Mm-hmm. That's better. But you can't carry a knife longer than a certain amount of inches now. You know, you'll get arrested. Knife!
Yeah. Boom.
Yeah. You'll get arrested, ticketed, fined for carrying a weapon or something like that.
Yeah. Well, what they did is, once the firearms started coming, I mean, they had like very primitive versions of it. I think it started in China, in their empires. It started as fireworks, but it was to send projectiles, the gunpowder and everything.
Oh, sure, yeah.
But what they did, once they started having guns, they took that sword and they put it on the front of their gun.
Yeah.
So they could shoot and stab you. Sure. Which, hey, ingenuity. It's great.
Yeah. Well, they could only get one bullet off per minute, you know, at that time.
As the drummer's like,
yeah. Oh, that means reload? Okay. That one guy in the back who smoked before the battle, he's like, it's my jam. Yeah. He joins in the drum circle.
Yeah. I feel bad for the guy carrying the flag. Like, that's it? Nothing to defend myself with? So we're just going to stand in a straight line here.
Yeah, that's what they did. Just stood in a straight. I mean, it was chess. That's what it was. It was chess with literal human lives, and people signed up for that. And they're like, oh yeah, no, this makes total sense. For the king, baby. Yeah. Just like, oh my God. And you see, like, throughout history, people have just been that stupid, and it's just like, well, then what the fuck's the point, man?
100%. Totally agree. We always have conversations exactly like this, and they happen a few times a month, and we're always like, this would make a great podcast. We should be doing that again. Just so maybe we can get it off our chest and then move on. Yeah. I mean, life feels a lot better when you stop watching the news. Imagine all the people who were not following the coronavirus fear porn that was going on. I lived a great summer. I was at the pool. I was just living my best life. My sister and brother-in-law bought a trailer up north at our old family vacation spot. So I was up there almost every week, just fishing. I would do a little kayaking or canoeing and just, hey, I'm going to enjoy it up here.
Yeah, I went with you for a couple of days up there. That was very nice.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
It was very nice getting out of the area, just disconnecting a little bit from the world and shit like that.
And it's a different way of life in those cities, and even like places that are west from us. Like, a lot of them were not wearing masks. They live a different life.
Yeah.
That was not, and I didn't see like dead bodies along the ground or people fainting in line like I was told.
Yeah.
From this original 2 weeks to flatten the curve sort of thing.
Right.
I just see so many instances of, oh, the death toll was so high, but they were skewing the data. That can be said.
Yeah,
the CDC admitted it.
Right.
They said, yeah, basically, whether you tested positive or not, if we believe you may have come in contact with someone, even if you didn't show symptoms, we're counting that as a COVID death. So literally, heart disease, cancer, motor vehicle accidents, all could be classified under COVID-19. That really skews the data. And the biggest red flag for me is the lowest amount of flu cases. Seriously.
Right.
Like, that just doesn't happen from a data analytical standpoint at all.
Right.
It's not possible. So I think the numbers were very inflated. It was definitely shoved down our throats. It was kind of shitty how as soon as Biden got in, that CNN took down their death toll counter.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, okay.
Absolutely.
Now there is some truth to the whole,
Yep.
Just trying to make Trump look bad, and they're still doing it. They're like, now the aftermath of COVID. If only we didn't have an incompetent president. Like, of course. Well, you called him racist when he put a ban on traveling from China, like in January. So you just got to be objective. Don't put your team on a pedestal. Don't try to justify bad actions. Let's just be truthful and objective.
Right.
We've lost that.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's like, party before president. But like, how about people before party?
100%.
Like, let's make that a thing.
What kind of bullshit propaganda is that?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah, party before president? Like, that doesn't make any fucking sense, first of all.
I'm not saying COVID wasn't real and it wasn't serious to some extent, but...
Yeah. I mean, I don't personally know anybody that's died, but you know somebody who knows somebody who died due to complications of COVID.
And I also know someone who had just received their second dose and died about a week after.
Sure.
Who was a very healthy, active...
How old?
They were 70.
Okay. Yeah, you have to fucking put that in there when you talk about that.
That's important.
70-year-olds die, man.
They do, but if I had said the 70-year-old got COVID... then you could just write it off as, well, they were old?
Mm-hmm. Maybe.
Okay.
They were old. Maybe.
Well, did they die from COVID or from old age?
Complications due to COVID, complications due to the vaccine.
Sure.
I don't fucking know. I'm not a doctor.
Either could be.
Absolutely.
Either could be true.
Either could be true.
I'm all for vaccines, speaking of. I just don't like how they said, we got a waiver that says we can't be held accountable for any adverse effects. And we're also going to silence anybody who's talking about the adverse effects they've had from the vaccine. I actually have someone right now, who's talking about their second dose. Extremely painful, all in their stomach. They're like dizzy. They're like, the room is spinning. They're having really bad symptoms. My symptoms with COVID, both times were not that bad.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, and the vaccine, the side effects seem to be hurting more people our age. It seems to be affecting our demographic a little bit more. So I'm just wondering, is it worth it for something that hasn't been tested, hasn't been approved by the FDA, has no recourse or accountability to it? And I still love vaccines. I love the idea of it. But has the government in the past used vaccines like negatively towards the people when they infected black people with AIDS, when they infected, when they put smallpox on blankets for indigenous people? Like, I mean, you can't just trust the government fully and not ask questions. And you can't also believe that everything is a conspiracy. Also, objectiveness is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Believing everything is a conspiracy is exhausting.
It is.
It's very exhausting. And that's kind of the line I was trying to walk last year. It's just like, okay, some of this shit has to be true, but it can't all be true because it's the government telling us this. And one side saying one thing and the other side saying the complete opposite thing. But the one side who's saying that this isn't a big fucking deal, it's all a hoax, well, they're still saying it as the world's getting shut down. And it's not America. It'd be different if we were the only fucking country in the world, man. But the news can't keep that from us. Like, we have ways to talk to somebody in India right now, or Russia or China or Japan, maybe not China, but like Japan or Korea or something like that. Like, we can talk to them through the internet, Twitter, Reddit. I feel a lot of, I see a lot of people from all over the world on Reddit talking about their experience, like Italy, their experience with COVID and stuff. And it's all very, very different, very varied from every country, no matter where you are. But it's no country has I seen anybody say this isn't real.
No, I agree with that. But I've seen a lot of countries, I don't know, a lot of the restrictions that they put in place seem more about having control.
Oh, that's
versus
no doubt.
Versus this is going to be better for your health and safety and save lives.
Yeah.
Like, this whole like, curfew by 7 p.m. Oh, the Rona doesn't spread at night.
Yep.
Good to know. Thanks for saving us.
Or they want you inside because the Rona spreads more at night.
That's what it is.
Hide your kids, hide your wives.
That's right. So it's things like that that just make it ridiculous. You can't buy certain items at the store. And that's happening currently in Canada. They too are shutting down parks and services, saying, we can't have this rest stop with a restroom because it could spread COVID. Are you kidding me? So you're going to make people truck even further. You're going to make sure, like, it seems more about restricting people. Just to see if they can get away with it almost, 100%. Right? I totally agree. How much can we get away with before they start attacking the Capitol? That's kind of what happened, right? And they're like, okay. Oops. Yeah.
But now I don't understand why one party is saying, no, we don't need to look into it.
Which side is saying that?
Oh, the Republican Party. They just basically said, no, we're not gonna open a 9/11 style, whatever you call it. What is it called?
Like an investigation or a committee?
A committee to investigate it.
Mm-hmm.
The Republicans, every single one of them was like, no, we don't need that. Every single one of them. Well, maybe not everyone. There's still a couple of them there that seem like they have brains in their heads rather than just dog shit rolling around.
Well, I say with anything, you hold people accountable. You got to find out the information, see what's going on. The 9/11 commission was a farce. That was an inside.
Right.
That was created to cover up what truth there was and hide incriminating evidence. Mm-hmm. I mean, even Jeffrey Epstein has a picture of George Bush playing with paper airplanes and Jenga towers. Huh. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, there's some messed up shit.
Wow.
I'm just saying the whole people in caves in Afghanistan did this. Oh, suddenly it's Iraq 2 years later. Uh-huh. Weapons of mass destruction that we never found.
Yep. Oh, no, Iran.
That's coming up next. Oh, we haven't left there. Now suddenly the insurgents are in these 5 specific countries that don't have a world currency that's backed by the world banks. Now, all of that seems a little fishy to me. All of that just doesn't make no sense. So that's where I start wondering, like, okay, it's done under this guise of we're stopping terrorism because
I thought the mission accomplished banner was back in 2006 or some shit.
Too soon?
Yeah, right? Whoops.
Oh my god, that was wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, the fucked up thing was that, man, I was in 8th grade watching Baghdad be bombed on TV. Yep. You know where I was? I was at the YMCA in the Children's Daycare Center volunteering for my 8th grade bullshit I had to volunteer for.
I did that same thing.
Yeah.
That was a fun time.
I knew at the time, I was like, I am not going to knock no kid up. Nope, I ain't knocking nobody up. Not for a long time. I cannot have a kid. But it was in there. They rolled in the fucking TV like it was a substitute teacher day.
You say you weren't going to knock anyone up.
I was 26, so that was fine.
So anyways, you started blasting. Still shooting bullets, eh? But yeah, it was a really messed up time when we were young. Yeah, it was crazy, but there's a lot of unanswered questions, a lot of weird instances that happen that make you wonder, is this really, really happening? Is this the truth that we were told it was? And it's not.
I don't think it is. Mm-mm. It seems like it's a recurring pattern.
Mm-hmm. Vietnam with the Gulf of Tonkin.
Yeah, right.
The first Iraq War. Mm-hmm. I mean, okay, a little bit justifiable when they invaded Kuwait. Like, okay, I get it, but
Kuwait, is that on our coast next to Florida, or is that on the other side of the fucking world?
No, you're thinking of Abu Ghraib. No.
That's
Guantanamo.
That shit. Like, yeah, Guantanamo, right? Yeah. Like, why are we involved over there? Like, isn't there enough countries in Europe to take care of Europe?
Well, it's a little bit fishy how the world opioid production and big opioid push and drug overdoses from opium happened mid to late 2000s once we took control of the poppy fields in Afghanistan.
Yeah, heroin started booming, didn't it?
Mm-hmm. It absolutely did.
Yep, it really did. And I know veterans specifically that were involved in the occupation of those poppy fields. And they were like, oh yeah, they go around burning a couple of them, but not most of them. Mm-mm. They burn a couple to take photos for the news and shit like that, but they're still 100% operational. Mm-hmm. Yeah, same with the cocaine fields in Colombia and all that shit. Like the government has their hands in all of this shit that they spend billions of dollars fighting because they make tens of billions of dollars selling.
Yep. Speaking of inside jobs, don't forget that the CIA was also proven to be smuggling and trafficking cocaine in the 80s.
Oh, right, yeah.
And then the countries in the Middle East, they had groups that were funded by both the CIA and FBI fighting each other, just like we supplied and supported that Osama bin Laden and his group. That wasn't the Taliban. I feel like that was the government of Afghanistan. Al-Qaeda? Is that what we're calling them?
Al-Qaeda, I think, is the fundamentalists group.
Mm-hmm. And now they're ISIS.
Well, that's what they call them, yeah.
Because now we needed an excuse to go into Syria. It wasn't...
Oh, sure, yeah. The Islamic State of Syria.
Of Iraq and Syria. What was their justification? Which, very interestingly, all the videos of Osama and Middle East militia militant groups, video cameras from the 80s. Like, it looked like it was recorded on a VCR.
All of those, yeah.
And suddenly, when that wasn't effective enough, when it wasn't taking a hold with American citizens, now all of a sudden they got graphic designers and producers and editors having waving ISIS flags in there and like beheading videos. We're gonna fade out and we're gonna cut this part out where we're actually cut. That's fucking propaganda. That is fucking staged.
Yeah.
That is, but we're told it's truth, and that's our justification for staying over there for so long. Yeah. Disgusting.
It is, man. Mm-hmm. It is disgusting. Mm-hmm. Seeing the blatant nonsense that this shit's involved in. And I guess the upsetting part is that there's so many people that are able to just brush it off. Like, oh, well, this doesn't really matter kind of thing, because it doesn't affect me right now. Right. Sort of thing. But like, it really does, man. It's like if you found out your dad was in the mob, like, wouldn't you be a little upset? Like, like, oh man, you're a bad guy. That's no cool.
But how much money you bringing home?
Well, yeah, I guess that's kind of how it is, isn't it? I don't give a fuck what you do as long as you're buying me my birthday present.
Yeah, but I mean, I went to Disneyland twice this year, so like, I mean, I can't complain. Hey, Ma, the meatloaf.
Yeah. Our family's just vital and is stimulating the economy.
Oh my God. I've watched so many good documentaries on Netflix about the mob of New York City, the crooked police of New York City, and many other places. It's not just New York, but how there was this one where like 4 families controlled a lot of the construction places, and they would purposefully inflate their bids. Like, any construction project in Manhattan that was $1 million or more had to go to these specific 4 companies, and they were laundering money to kick back to the mafia mob, and it's just...
Yeah, it's just so entangled, and corruption is so embedded in the very foundation of American society. There's there's no way to weed it out. You know, it has to be, you can't even surgically remove it. You just gotta toss it on the fire.
I know. You can't make an honest living anymore. It, like, that opportunity is like, it makes it too attractive to take the bad way, to be a criminal. 'Cause it's like, okay, I'm either, I'm gonna work 3 jobs, 60 hours a week, making minimum wage, so I can get $1,200 a month. Yeah. 800 of that is gonna go towards rent, if you're lucky. Inflation, is a poor person's tax. Look at the concentration of wealth just in the last year and the last 50 years. You can't tell me that this economy isn't rigged. Capitalism was great when it helps the working people, but we're losing unions. Right. The CEO pay is getting astronomical. If inflation kept up with minimum wage, we should all be making $22 an hour right now. And that would be a comfortable living. I would be like, okay, this is doable. It's an American dream. Like, we would be content. But middle class has been squeezed out, and it's being concentrated to very, very select individuals.
Yeah. Like 4 or 5 corporations got like 300% richer last year. Walmart, Amazon. I can't remember. Zoom. No, maybe not Zoom. Maybe it was Microsoft. Just in general. And then another one, I think, that just because...
I want to say there was United Healthcare. I feel like a healthcare company made out so big because they were collecting premiums still, but never had to pay out for electives.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That makes sense, too.
I mean, top 5, top 10, top 100 companies that consolidated wealth. They used... COVID as an excuse to cut their workforce, to minimize hours. It's just crazy. Walmart is now pretty much 90% self-checkout.
No shit. I saw that, man.
It is, and they changed the entire store around so you can't find shit anymore. Like it is a bad experience.
I haven't been to that one in a while, but I did see that there were most of it's self-checkout now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is fine because none of the other fucking lanes ever had somebody working in them.
They
anyways.
never did.
So there's the robots they said would replace us.
Yep. And each self-checkout has a fucking camera to it now.
Oh yeah.
And now, yeah, we gotta fucking track you. And every aisle has an iPad with a recording in progress.
Oh, sure.
I'm like, wow, we're just really being fucking tracked. Every step we take. This is...
Yeah. We are.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I mean, you carry around your tracker in your pocket, though. I mean, we all do. We carry around our trackers in our pockets.
Of course,
and there's nothing we can do about it other than putting it down when we leave the house, and that's it. But then, what are you going to do then? Nobody has a house phone anymore, or a pager, or nothing. If you need to be contacted, or
I might get a flip phone. I've missed those.
I know I've been talking about it too, but like I like having my email available, especially for work now. Mm-hmm. I feel like I use my phone for YouTube and for work stuff. That's honest to God, like it. And then at night I'll play a game or two in bed before I go to sleep. Mm-hmm. Other than that, I use my computer for everything or whatever. A flip phone would probably work for me if I didn't need the email stuff.
Yeah.
Just having the apps is cool. Some of the apps.
Yeah, it's certainly convenient. I use it a lot for business and just being responsive, being on top of things, but sometimes we need to disconnect a little bit.
That's true. That's true. So if we take anything away from this is take time to disconnect.
That's right.
And just ask yourself what you really, truly, believe. Mm-hmm. And if you don't know, fuck, man, take a moment and just dissect what you've been told. And
but only disconnect after listening to this podcast, because obviously you need an internet connection to listen to us right now. So
right, yeah, that's true.
So we're being a little hypocritical here, but yeah.
Disconnect. Stop taking everything so fucking literally that's coming out of the internet and your television. Realize that every asshole telling you not to get vaccinated has been fully vaccinated for months now. Realize everybody who's telling you to blame the poor for you being poor is a millionaire.
Yep.
Like, just stop pretending things that aren't real. And that's it. I mean, I play D&D every fucking week of my life. It's the only hobby I have is pretending to play a game. Like, I recognize when people are just consumed by it. And that's what it is. It's just a different type of pretending. They're creating this world, this fantasy world in their head, and they get pissed off when they open their eyes and realize that's not what it is. Because these jackasses on television are telling them, well, the reason it's not like that is because of them over there and them over there. And, you're doing everything you're doing. You're doing it white. Right. That's funny. Well, I guess we could probably wrap this up. I don't have anything else at the moment, at least, to shout out about. Thanks for coming over. This is the first time you've been over my house, I think, since the last episode we recorded together.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Even though we weren't, before we were distancing, doing it over the internet. But
True. That was not the same.
No. It wasn't talking to a computer screen.
Yeah. It was we were on video, so it was okay, and it's you and I, so it was just like, okay, it's fine.
We were trying to be safe, for the people, but I mean, we still did a lot of things in 2020 together.
Yeah, we did.
And we stayed safe still, so.
I thought so, yeah.
It was a successful but fucked up year.
Yeah.
Year in review.
Yeah. Yeah, for those of us who made it, here's to the next. Yes. That's all I got for that. Well, everybody, thanks for tuning into this episode of That's Our Take. Really appreciate you sticking around for the years we've been not doing this, and and we'll try our best to continue it on. My wife will be joining me and Chris, and we'll be doing different things and stuff like that. We'll have other folks come in, and
we're gonna start doing the things that we said we'd do.
Yep.
A year ago.
We
had traction, but thank you.
A little bit.
Thank you to the tens of listeners. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. We definitely appreciate you. And take care. We'll see you next time. Don't be a dick. Goodbye.